In this lesson, we're going to set up our smoothing groups before we UV. Alright, so you are finished modeling. Congratulations. Let's go ahead and move on over to frame 1 where we have our exploded view, okay, of all of our pieces. And what we want to do is we want to set up some smoothing groups before we get started. I just noticed one of our pieces didn't snap over, so let's go ahead and take care of that really quickly. On frame 1, turn on auto key and let's align that to this piece here. And let's go ahead and use the Y position as well and hit OK. There we go. Turn off auto key. Alright, so on the frame itself, let's just select it and isolate it. We don't need the high poly for this part. What we need to do is we need to go through and set up our smoothing groups, because if we take a look at this, deselect, you can see we have all of these faceted edges, and that's because there are no smoothing groups on this object. And so we need to go ahead and set those up. Basically, the way you want to set these up are based on how you think it should be split up in the UV. And so I'm going to select all of these faces that are flat on this side of the metal here. And I'm going to select all of these faces right here. And I'm going to set those to one smoothing group. Okay. I'm also going to select the trigger down the side here. And so these could possibly be on one UV. Now, what we're doing here is we're just setting up what could possibly be the smoothing groups. We don't have to do it completely. And I just noticed that we missed this part right here. I thought we were finished, but I guess not. Not a big deal to take care of that. I'll just do that in between lessons. All I'll do is I'll just take that border, cap it, and then take that polygon, extrude it, and then reconnect the edges across that. Sorry about that. I thought it was finished. But anyway, select these polygons here, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so let's make sure that we get the exact same ones. And what we're doing here is we're just setting up these smoothing groups, getting an idea of how we want this to appear. Because smoothing groups are going to be really important whenever it comes down to UVing. Because we are working on a hard surface model, UVing and smoothing groups are going to be really important for us, especially once we start baking out our normal maps. It's going to be really, really important for us to have these set up properly. Now, you could, if we really wanted to, we could go ahead and make these part of the same smoothing group, okay? But I'm afraid that if I did that, it might look a little, you know what, let's go ahead and do it anyway. Because we do have this edge right here that it does allow it to look smooth because of this supporting edge here. Let's go ahead and go all the way up and around. We're not going to worry about what's inside of there. I'll be setting that on a different smoothing group anyway. And so I'll show you that in the next lesson whenever we have that all taken care of. So I'm just going to select all these polys here. Not going to select anything on the barrel. Okay, just these up here. Okay. And then with that set there, we can go ahead and set this to smoothing group 1. So we'll scroll all the way down, and I'm going to go ahead and say clear all, and then set that to smoothing group 1. Okay, perfect. Then what we'll do is we'll come in and we'll select all the polygons in the handle. So I'm going to actually select all these around here, and then I'm going to say grow selection. Don't need that open. I don't need that open. Trying to get back and forth between my rollouts as fast as possible. So let's grow that selection up to the handle there, and then we'll just go ahead and go around the rest of these. Okay, up to this surface. And then we'll put these on a different smoothing group. So we'll put them on something like smoothing group 2. because remember the flat surface here is on smoothing group 1, and so wherever those polygons are touching and they go off in this crazy direction, so like we're flat here and then it goes off in like this 90-degree turn for the handle, right there along those edges we want that to be a different smoothing group, so that way we can see a definite separation between that. So just to kind of give you an idea, if I were to set this all to smoothing group 1 and then I move away from that, you'll notice that it looks smooth all the way through, but then we get this weird shading where it comes into the handle, and that's not something that we want to do. And so by going to polygon mode and selecting all of those and setting those to a different smoothing group, like smoothing group 2, because it's different than the smoothing group that's on the flat surfaces. Remember, we set those to 1. Let's go ahead and clear all of those and set that to 2. Now look at what happens here. You'll see that we get this nice smooth handle, and it goes right into the flat surface of this geometry. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Now I do want to go ahead and take this polygon right here, and I'm going to hold Control and convert that to a polygon selection. I'm going to actually make that into a different smoothing group. Let's set this to smoothing group of 1. Okay. Now, just to be clear, if you're not sure of how smoothing groups work in 3ds Max, it only matters if the polygons are touching one another. Okay, so what it's really doing is it's hardening the edges where the smoothing groups are different on the polygons. So this polygon right here is on smoothing group 1, or excuse me, smoothing group 2, and this one's on smoothing group 1. So that's going to create an edge, or a hard edge, right along this edge here where they meet. Okay, so that's where we get that. All right, so that looks good. Then we'll need to go through the rest of these. So remember, these are all smoothing group 1. So we're going to go ahead and take these polygons. Let's hold Shift and select that one. And then let's go through. Let me see if I can get the next one. Yep, we can do the same thing. So Control and then Shift, select that loop. If you want, you can also double click on this loop, hold Control, and then convert it to a polygon selection. That'll do the same thing. And we'll set this to smoothing group 2. Okay, so that smooths out, looks good. And then we're going to go underneath here. This is smoothing group 1. This is smoothing group 2. So we'll need to make sure that these polygons underneath are something like smoothing group 3. Now it doesn't matter how many smoothing groups you necessarily have. All that matters is that you about the splits, okay, in that. And we'll always be doing 2 splits. And what I mean by split is where a smoothing group comes into contact with another. We'll never have one polygon on smoothing group 1, another one on smoothing group 2, and then something on smoothing group 3 all together like that. Okay, that would be what we considered a 3 smoothing group split. Okay, we'll always do 2. Okay. And then I'm just going to go ahead and, oops, let's not move any of those. Let's make sure that we're using the select tool just to keep that from happening. And then these will be on smoothing group 3. Okay, that looks good. And then let's go ahead and move up here to the next part. Let's see, this is going to be on smoothing group. Let's put that on smoothing group 1 as well. And then we'll come over here. Let's select these surfaces here. Put those on smoothing group 2. That's 1. Let's put these on smoothing group 2. Clear that. We'll put these on across the top. Let's go ahead and clear those. Let's put this on smoothing group 3. So this is 1, this is 2, and then we've got 3 here. So we'll do 4 on this one. Clear that and go to 4. Okay, that looks good. And then we'll take these surfaces here and I'm going to set this to smoothing group 5, just so that way it's not messing with anything else. And so every now and then just go ahead and deselect and just take a look at how that everything is shading and make sure that it looks right. You may even have to go out of wireframe view just to see that. Okay, so that looks good. So smoothing group 1 here, this is going to be smoothing group 5. So it'll be safe to go ahead and take these and put those on smoothing group 2. And then on this, we're going to go ahead and take these along the side here. I'll set that to smoothing group 1. Let's do the same thing over here. Because it's separated by these polygons, so it's not going to affect these. And then let's come down. Let's see, let's leave that. Let's put this on smoothing group 1 here. That's not going to work. See how it changes that shading there? Let's put this on the same smoothing group right there. So we'll put that on smoothing group 2. And I'll actually take all of these and put those on the same smoothing group. Smoothing group 2 there. Okay. And then this one we'll put on smoothing group 3. This is on smoothing group 2. Okay, that's fine. 1. And then let's put all of these on their own smoothing group. So we have 1, and let's see, these are going to be smoothing group. Let's put these on smoothing group 3, just because I want it to look different, okay, than the others. And then all of these we'll put on smoothing group 4. That includes all of these all the way around. So put that on 4. And again, just go ahead and deselect and just take a look at how that's smoothing, if you're happy with that or not. Okay, so that looks nice and flat there. This is looking good. Let's go ahead and go to smoothing or polygon. Let's select this polygon, hold shift, select the next one. Let's deselect this one. Go here, hold shift, deselect these. So the smoothing group that these are going to be on, I'm just trying to think about this one. This one needs to be on smoothing group 5, I believe. Yeah, so this was 4, and this was 1. This was 4. Okay, all right, yeah, we're good with that. And then let's select these. These are all going to be on smoothing group 2. Okay, let's clear that. Set that to smoothing group 2. Whoops, let's make sure that's set to 4. Didn't mean to change that one. Okay, so deselect, take a look. Everything looks pretty good so far. Trying to remember what smoothing group I used here on this one. This one was 3. This one was 2. Okay. So we'll set this one to 3. And there we go. So we've done the handle, we've done the main portion of the frame. Now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and move on to these pieces here. Let's see, I think we did part of these. Oops, sorry about that, I was trying to scroll down. So we've done part of these here. So these are on smoothing group 3. And I'm going to go ahead and make all of these on smoothing group 3 right here. That'll look good. And then from here, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll continue setting all of this up along the front end in our next lesson. Okay, so I'll see you then.